Alright, hello fun and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the 45 machine pistol mod, which is being released by user Degenerate Dak. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is an absolutely wonderful new machine pistol for you to play with. And of course it's in 45 caliber, which is just fun. Now it may look like a Tech 9, but that is not what this gun is actually designed or inspired by. In fact, this was inspired by the Enfield MP45, which is a gun I had never heard of before, so I had to look it up. Apparently, its original name was the Encom pistol, but in America, they decided to advertise it as the Enfield MP45. Only 5,000 were made, and it was made in 1985. The whole run, which is kind of interesting. Never heard of it before, but a fun little weapon. Definitely Tech 9-esque, but with a few little extra bits of flair, and being made in the 80s puts it solidly in the Cold War, and I do always like Cold War guns being added into the game, as I think it's, aesthetically correct. Good times there. So let's jump on over here and take a look at what all exactly we are getting, though, out of the 45 machine pistol, which in its most basic and standard of forms will do 21 damage with a 45 caliber round with a firing rate of 86, range of 71, accuracy of 49 for a small weight of 3.3. It is a pistol after all, and quite a small one, surprisingly small. As you can see here, it's a fairly compact weapon, very simply made, and I do like that on the modeling here you even have like the welding marks on either side of the mag well there. I think that's pretty cool. Definitely goes to show the sort of cheap, I don't know if I'd say cheaper nature of the weapon build, but it's certainly a nice little bit there, which I do like, and other fun little details on like the magazine there. It's just all pretty darn cool, and certainly does look the part for the pictures I saw online of an Enfield MP45. Like I said, not many of these guns out there, and it's so not a whole lot of pictures of this weapon, so it took me a little bit to find any of those, which was intriguing. So kind of cool to have it here in the game. A somewhat rare real-life weapon now turned into a fun gun to play around with in the post-apocalypse of the Commonwealth. And with plenty of modifications like usual for Degenerate Dak mods, we've got loads of mods in here for you to up the damage, change other various stats, etc., which is always good to see. And as per usual, there's more than 40. That tends to be the usual number of lore-friendly mod attachments that they add in with these guns they make, which are always wonderful, always quality made, and I do very much enjoy. Now, as for how you do get your hands on one of these lovely things, well, it's pretty darn simple. Starting at level 10, you'll find them on pretty much everyone: Triggermen, Raiders, Gunners, Minutemen, and of course in vendors. So not too hard to find there at all. Again, starting at level 10. Now there is also one unique variant of the gun found out there in the world that you can also go and find. Again, pretty typical of the Degenerate Dak weapon mods, so always cool to have those. Now as for the modifications we do have, let's head on over here to the workbench and into the receiver category. Pretty typical stuff in here, from standard, armor piercing, rapid, up to the powerful automatic receiver, which is going to do the most base level damage at 35 here, of course with any perks that can raise that up even more. Now then, the barrel category, we've got a short, medium, and a long barrel with ported versions of each of them, which do look great. I've got a soft spot for ported barrels. I always love the look and design of them. I think they're pretty fun. And then finally, we also do have a suppressed barrel in here, if you don't want to have to worry about any other muzzle attachments, because of course you will lose that there. The other ones will give them to you though. And in the grip category, we've got either a makeshift, standard, comfort, heavy, and sharpshooter, which is quite the chonky grip down there. Look at that thing. And then magazines, we've got small, medium, and large with quick eject versions of each. And I do like, again, just the detailing on them, like with the tape or, you know, the writing on them you can see there. Very, very cool. And then after the large, we do also have a drum magazine for the highest ammo capacity there. Then in sights, we've got pretty typical stuff here again, with iron and glow sights, dot, hollow, reflex, a laser sight, and then short and medium scopes here, along with night vision and recon, if you do want to add those on. Now in the muzzle category, we've got a compensator, a flash hider, muzzle booster, muzzle brake, makeshift suppressor, and then of course a more, well, just normal suppressor there. And then finally in the accessory category, we've got either nothing, a flashlight, a recon laser, or a VATS targeting module. So once again, a good list of modifications, nothing too crazy, and I'm a little bit saddened this time by not a lot of aesthetic modifications. I do like when we can have at least a couple of those, but, you know, for this gun it's a bit more basic, so still though, everything you need to make this gun better and last you a little bit longer into the game, though being a level 10 45 caliber machine pistol, it's very much an early to mid-game gun, I'd say. Though again, with perks, as I always say, you can up that usability for even longer, which is always good to see. Now let me go grab my two modified versions with both doing the same amount of damage, but I just kind of spec them both out a little bit differently, just to show off what you can do with the gun. But first, let's start as per usual with an unloaded standard version with the small 16 round magazine. And there we go. I think only one of those bullets actually hit the target because this thing does have quite a bit of kick. It's not the hardest to control, so if you've got enemies like real close to you, it's not going to be bad. But if you're trying to make any shot at a like medium to long range, not happening. Let me not compensate here for once. There we go. So that's without any compensation, just pulling the trigger. This thing is a bit all over the place, but I mean, it makes sense. It is a 45 caliber machine pistol. It's gonna be a little bit wild of a gun. Now then, of course, with our modified versions, I've got the Recon one here that I did make with the nice drum magazine. So let's go ahead with that one first and fire. God, even with all the modifications and putting stuff on this thing to make it a bit more controllable, that thing's still all over the place. But again, 45 caliber machine pistol, that's kind of expected, and I love it. It's a bit of a beast, and it's great. And with that drum magazine, you're just putting a lot of lead down range. Now, of course, I went with the suppressed barrel on this last one here to be a bit more stealthy of a weapon. Whoops. There we go. With, of course, a nice little sight there. And there we are. Again, if it's a fairly close target, you should be able to put most of the bullets into them, but that kick, it's going to be fun. All right, well, let's go try this thing out against... Boy, I chose a Deathclaw again today, and even though I probably shouldn't with a lower-end gun, I mean, it is meant to be a, you know, early game weapon starting at level 10, and yet, die, Deathclaw! You know what? Not doing as bad as I thought. Thanks to the size of the Deathclaw, I was able to put most of the bullets into him. Which I am happy about. Well, a lot of those missed. Also, the extreme range there. Alright, let's actually go to the, our barrel magazine one here. Yep, that was the right one. And plus VATS targeting. Why not? Oh, a little bit more all over the place there. But we're getting him. We're getting him. And he's down with a few extra rounds in him for good measure. You know, that didn't go nearly as bad as I thought it would. Normally with these level 10 guns, it takes a fair few more shots. But, you know, then again, full auto, I am putting a lot of lead down range real quickly. So down goes the Death Claw. Magnificent. Man, I quite like this gun. It's been a fun time to play with. I mean, I'm a horrible shot already, so a gun that kicks like a mule is not the greatest for me in accuracy, but I just have fun playing with it because it's just nice to have a crazy little machine pistol rolling around the Commonwealth with, you know, go into a room full of enemies and just spray and pray everything, and well, they're probably gonna die, and that's fun. Plus, with the whole part of it being a pretty rare gun, and one I had never heard of before, the Enfield MP45, that just adds a fun little extra bit to it that I very much do enjoy. So if you'd like to take a look at this mod for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do, you can have a look at the link in the description as per usual. But that, my friends, is going to be it for this one today. Hopefully you all have enjoyed and you do come back for whatever mod it is we look at next. But until that time, thank you for watching, and as always, we'll have a good one.